Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Dr. Robinson again, and I'm going to continue our studies. We are adding and subtracting polynomials, this time with fractions. And this is dedicated to a few people in my class who asked about it. So thank you, Daniela, Elijah. So let's get going. Here's a question they ran into, and they wanted to find the sum. Sum is the answer to addition, so we have an addition problem here. So what I'm going to do is, like I do with my polynomials, I cut them up into Hershey bar pieces. So I draw a line between each and every sign, so that way each piece of the Hershey bar will have a sign inside its box. So if you remember, we have our t-chart, and on the end of the t-chart, we have our constants. Those are numbers without letters attached. And our first column is going to be the x column. I'm going to put my constants in there. There's a -7 I'm going to put in there. There's another -7, which is another constant I'm going to put in there. Then I'm going to put my x values in there. There's a fraction, which is a 1/2 x. And then there's another fraction, which is a plus 3/8 x. Now, here's where the problem comes in. You got fractions you got to deal with. I say use your Desmos calculator because it's available to you. If not, use your regular calculator with your ABC button. I'll first use my regular calculator, and I'll type in my fraction. My fraction is 1/2. So go down, and I don't have to worry about the letter x because this is my x column. I'm adding it to the 3/8. So you don't have to worry about adding the x's because that's the x column. All right, so 3/8. So we're adding our coefficients. And that'll give us a new fraction of 7/8. Let me press the simp button just to make sure it's simplified. I believe it is. And it is simplified down. It's 7/8. And don't forget the letter x. Now I have to add my constants column. So let's get my calculator one more time. And that would have been nice if you would have pulled that out, Dr. Rob, so they could see it, see what you did. So here is that. Make it a little bit bigger so it's legible. And now let me get my calculator one more time, clear all of this, type -7 plus -7 again, and enter, and I get -14. Let's pull that out. And there is my second part of my answer, -14. So my answer to this question would be 7/8 x -14. And that's all there is to it. So here's a question for you to try. So pause the videotape, see if you can get the answer. Remember your constants column on here and your x column here. Put your constants in there. Break it up into Hershey bar pieces. I'll break it up for you so you can see it. And see if you can get your constants together. Okay? So let me know what you got in class. So I hope you understand what's going on. If you're not sure, rewatch the video and bring your questions in the class, and I'll be glad to answer them for you. Now let's talk about subtraction for a second. So we want to find the difference. So we are now subtracting. But you know I told you in class there's no such thing as subtraction. It's really addition of the additive inverse of the second term. So that means this second term, 3/7 is a positive term, 3/7x. It's a positive term, which has got to be changed to its opposite, which is negative. That's the first thing I have to do. The second thing I got to do is take the second term into parenthesis, which is -10. I got to make it its opposite. So the opposite of negative 10 is positive 10 or plus 10. And let me put my parenthesis back. So now I have my situation here. I have 4, 7x minus 11 plus negative 3, 7x plus 10. Now I can go to my t-chart, put in my constants over here, and my x's over here. So I no longer will be dealing with the top equation, or I will be dealing with the bottom one. So the bottom one, I'm going to again break up my problem into Hershey bar pieces. In each Hershey bar piece, I will cut between the positive and negative signs. Here's a plus sign and there's a negative sign. So I'm going to cut that right between there. So each square of the Hershey bar piece has a negative or a positive sign inside of it. Now I'm going to put my constants in the constant column. There's negative 11, and there is positive 10. They're in there. Now I got to deal with my x's. I have 4, 7x, and I have negative 3, 7x. So this is the same stuff we just did a few minutes ago. It's not much difference. Just remember you're adding the additive inverse. So you should check out that movie on subtracting integers or subtracting polynomials. All right, so let's get our calculator. This time I'll use my Desmos calculator. So let's go to Desmos. So I'm going to start with my constant. So what is it? Negative 11 plus 10. So remember, now we're adding. I know it says subtracting, but we're no longer subtracting. We're subtracting. And if you remember, there is no negative button on the calculator, on Desmos calculator. It knows how to conduct itself with plus and minus signs. So negative 11 plus 10 is 11. Negative 1. So let's put that down. So that's negative 1. Now I got to add up 4 sevenths plus negative 3 sevenths. All right, so let's get back to there again. So I got a fraction bar, 4 sevenths, and move over, plus negative, and look at Desmos go, 3 sevenths, because I don't like how they have the plus minus sign next to them like that. It's usually has parentheses, but Desmos knows how to treat positive and negative numbers, so you like that calculator better, all right? And look at that, I got a crazy looking decimal. If you remember, we press this button to convert it to a fraction, and we get a positive 17x, which is correct. And so I get a positive 1/7 x. So my answer is going to be 1/7 x minus 1. And that's it. So that's all you got to do when you're dealing with fractions. So again, it's no longer finding the difference. You're really finding the sum of the inverse of the second term. So that's one way of looking at it. So here's another question for you. So I would like to mention, I noticed some of the teachers like to distribute the negative. What do you mean by that? In finding the difference, they distribute, because there's a imaginary 1 here in algebra, and we can distribute. If you remember the rainbow we made, by multiplying negative 1 times the terms inside of the parenthesis, and then combine. That would give us negative 1/3. Negative 1 times positive negative 1 times positive 1/3 x. And the second distribution, negative 1 times negative 4. So we would multiply that by the -1 if you like to distribute. -1 times the 1/3 x is -1/3 x. -1 times -4 is +4. And then we would bring down the remaining terms, the 1/2 x minus 9. And we'd have minus 1/3 x plus 4. So now we're really dealing with just an addition of polynomials where we'd have to substitute them inside of the t-chart. But I want you to notice, and let me copy this. So, group it and copy it. So I want you to notice, because I'm going to clear this for a second. Oh, let me erase it. That way I don't have to clear it. So where's my eraser? I'm going to erase this. So that way we can see the other way that I mentioned what you're really doing, because I've seen some teachers do the distributive property and get rid of the minus sign that way. But I'm old-fashioned, and I was taught that you add the additive inverse. So we add the opposite of each one of these terms. So I'm going to take the 1/3, which is positive, and make it the opposite, which is -1/3. And don't forget the x. Then I'm going to take the -4 and make it the opposite, which is +4. And I want you to notice it is exactly the same thing down here. There's your -1/3 x, and there's your +4. So if you distribute or you decide to add the additive inverse of the second term, you're going to get the same thing. And now it's just a matter of placing your constants in your chart and your x's in the other chart. So hopefully that'll help explain a little bit better depending on which way you go with it. So check your understanding. I hope you're getting better at it. I have a few other examples you can try. So let's look at them. And if you need to rewatch the video, be my guest. So let's do a sum one more time to make sure we got it. So sum, all we do is just cut it up in the Hershey bar pieces. So, and then place it in our chart, and we're done. So I'm going to put my -5 in there. This is my constant. And here's another constant, -10. Then I'm going to put my 2x, in my x column, 2, 7x, and my 4, 7x in that column. And now it's just a matter of adding up. So you can get your calculator, add these up, and add those up, and hopefully you'll come out with 6, 7x minus 15. So I didn't use my calculator, but you can to check it. Let's do one more and call it a day. So, I'm sorry. There's one for you. So try your addition. Remember, cut it up in Hershey bar pieces. Hopefully you're understanding some. Here's one for subtraction. So let's give that a shot. Now remember, you're not really subtracting. You're adding the opposite of everything in these parentheses. So add the opposite. So make that -16x, and make that, instead of -5, make that +5. Let's put that in parentheses. Bring down the other one, 1/2 x minus 6, and cut it up into our Hershey bar pieces and put it inside of the boxes. Here's a plus sign and a minus sign. I put 1 sign in each box. So I got my constants over here, and I'm going to put my -6 there, and a +5 there, And then I'm going to put my x's here. So I got 1/2 x and negative 1/6 x. And now get my calculator. You can use your decimals calculator or your regular calculator. And I'm going to get my regular calculator this time. So negative 6 plus 5, positive 5. And I don't have to write the positive sign. I get negative 1. And it'd be nice if you pull that out so they can see it, Dr. Rob. All right. So there's part of the answer. Let's do the first part now. Get my calculator out one more time. I got a fraction. I got 1/2. And remember, it's the x column, so I don't have to worry about it. Plus a negative 1/6. Go down, negative 1/6, and move over. And remember, I don't do anything with the x column. I don't do anything, but just rewrite the x. So let's pull that over there. And that gives us 2/6. And don't forget the x, and it's positive. So our answer is 2/6x minus 1. So I hope you understood that and that you're getting it right and you're getting better at it. The more you practice, the better you'll get. Here's an interesting looking question. If this polynomial is subtracted from this polynomial, the difference is, hopefully you remember the word from, what I told you that means to do. That means anything in the n has got to be translated to the front of the problem because you're going to subtract. So that goes in the front. 5x squared plus 8x minus 2. There's your first polynomial. And put my subtraction sign from this. So let me put the first polynomial in the rear. So I'm taking this from that. So let's put this in the rear. Plus 6. And put that in parentheses. Now, why do we have to switch? If you checked out my other video, when we're dealing with the word from, make sure you know that that implies a change in positions of the terms. So the last term is going to be put in the front because the first term is being subtracted from it or taken out of it. So now that you got that straightened out, now you can do your changing of the guards. What do you mean, Dr. Rob? Everything in here gets changed to its opposite. And now that you've changed everything to its opposite, let me rewrite this. You can go ahead and cut up your Hershey bar pieces and put in your things in your chart. Notice you'll need 3 columns because you got constants, you got an x, and you got an x squared. So fill it up, use your calculator, and I hope you do well. If you're not sure, rewatch the video from subtracting polynomials, and hopefully that'll help you out with that. So I gave you a lot of help, a lot of support. So here's a couple more you can practice on your own. And I want to close up this video. And I'm sorry if I went too long, but I know you needed some help, and I wanted to get it to you. So if you need some more help, there's Dial a Teacher Homework Helpline at 212-777-3380, Monday to Thursdays, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Give them a call. They're good people. Don't forget to watch my shows on YouTube. My channel name is Dan Robinson, PKMS, Peekskill Middle School. Subscribe to my channel. Give us a thumbs up if you like what we do. And write me a comment because I do write back. Now on video available, on YouTube video, that is, PKMS Math Prep 21. Check us out. See what we did for the pandemic or during the pandemic. And tweet me at drobmath1. If you would like some more information or worksheets on this topic that we just discovered, you could write me at drobinson@peakskillschools.org. So I hope you enjoyed adding and subtracting polynomials with fractions. So this is Dr. Rob signing off. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry if I took too long. Bye-bye.